One drop of blood, and Earth set the galaxy. A blaze high executor Threndil stood at the window of his office, watching the human fleet approach. 200 human warships hung in orbit around Vrel Prime. His own defense fleet, what remained of it, was nowhere near large enough to fight them. But he was not planning to fight. On his desk lay a document, a treaty, written by Earth. He had read it 17 times in the past 3 hours. Every time he struggled to believe what it said, a knock at his door. "Enter," Threndil said. Ambassador Jiwoo walked in. She was alone. No guards, no security, just one human woman walking into the office of the leader of an empire that had tried to destroy her species. "Ambassador," Threndil said, "you are brave to come here alone." "No," Jiwoo replied. "I am not brave. I am simply showing trust, something your empire forgot how to do." Threndil gestured to the treaty on his desk. "I have read your terms. I do not understand them. You have defeated us. You have proven you can take any world you want. You could destroy my entire species, but instead you offer this." Jiwoo sat down. "Tell me what confuses you. All of it." Threndil's forearms spread wide. "You demand we dismantle our empire, split into smaller independent colonies, accept human supervision for 3 generations. These terms are harsh, humiliating even." "Yes," Jiwoo agreed. "But then you offered to relocate every Vrelian to suitable worlds. You promised to provide resources, food, medicine, technology. You offer to help us rebuild our civilization." He stared at her. "Why? Why not simply destroy us and take everything?" Jiwoo looked at him steadily. "Because destruction was never our goal. Understanding was our goal. We wanted you to understand the value of life, the cost of taking it carelessly, the importance of treating every death as something sacred and terrible." "We killed 73 humans," Threndil said quietly. "You have taken 23 of our worlds in response. By my calculations, you have 50 more worlds to claim to fulfill your declaration. Why stop now?" "Because you have learned," Jiwoo said. "Your empire is broken. Your people understand what they did wrong. Your government is being held accountable by your own citizens. Continuing to punish you serves no purpose. Our goal was never revenge. It was justice. And justice has been served." Threndil sat down slowly. "In 300 years of leadership, no enemy has ever spoken to me this way. With compassion, even while showing strength. Your species is strange, Ambassador, terrifying and merciful at the same time. We are human," Jiwoo said simply. "We fight fiercely for what we believe in. But we also believe in second chances, in redemption, in the possibility that even those who have done wrong can learn and grow." She stood up. "The treaty is on your desk. Sign it and this war ends. Your people live. Your civilization continues, just in a different form. Refuse to sign and we will claim the remaining 50 worlds. The choice is yours." Threndil looked at the document. Then he looked at the woman who had given his species a chance they did not deserve. He reached for his writing instrument. "One question first," he said. "What happens after 3 generations? When human supervision ends?" "You will be free," Jiwoo said. "Free to rebuild your empire if you choose. Free to rejoin galactic civilization as full members. Free to prove that you have learned the lessons this war taught. And if we have not learned? If we return to our old ways?" Jiwoo's expression became hard. "Then we will teach you again. But more severely. There will not be a third chance." Threndil nodded slowly. He signed the treaty. Admiral Tae-Yang stood in his quarters aboard the Righteous Fury. He held the photograph of his daughter in his hands, the smiling face that he would never see again except in pictures and memories. A message came through his communication system. "Admiral, the treaty has been signed. High Executor Threndil has surrendered." Tae-Yang closed his eyes. The war was over. 23 worlds claimed. Hundreds of ships destroyed. Thousands of enemy soldiers killed. And his daughter was still dead. The treaty did not bring her back. The victory did not ease his pain, but it meant something. It meant that her death had forced change, that the galaxy would never again treat life as cheap, that future ambassadors, future diplomats, future people on peaceful missions would be safer because of what had happened. "Acknowledge the message," Tae-Yang said. "Begin withdrawal procedures. We are going home." He looked at his daughter's photograph one more time. "I hope you are proud of what we did. I hope you understand why we fought, not for revenge, not for conquest, but to make the galaxy better, to make it safer for the next generation." He placed the photograph in his uniform pocket over his heart. Then he walked to his bridge to give the orders that would bring his fleet home. 6 months later, the Galactic Council held a ceremony. It was being broadcast to every member world. Billions of beings watched. Council Arbiter Kelvesh stood at the central platform. Today we honor those who have changed our civilization forever. We implement the One Life Doctrine, which states that every sentient death requires full investigation and accountability, that life cannot be measured in credits or calculated as acceptable losses. He gestured to Ambassador Jiwoo. Earth has shown us that peace requires more than treaties. It requires principles. It requires being willing to fight for what is right, even when the cost is high. The ceremony continued with speeches from various species. Some praised Earth, some admitted they had been wrong, some simply acknowledged that the galaxy had changed forever. But the most important part of the ceremony was what came next. A new memorial was unveiled. It stood in the main plaza of Axis Prime. 73 pillars of crystal, each one carved with a name and a face. The crew of the Unity's promise. The people whose deaths had started a war that ended an era. Lieutenant Sang-hoon stood in the crowd watching the ceremony. He had survived the battle against the Allied fleet. His escape pod had been recovered by human search and rescue. Now he wore a new uniform. He had been promoted to captain. He commanded a new squadron. Eagle Wing, rebuilt and reformed. His mission was different now. Instead of fighting, he protected. Earth had taken on a new role in the galaxy. They were guardians, protectors of diplomatic vessels from all species, ensuring that what happened to the Unity's promise never happened again. Captain Sang-hoon, a voice said behind him. He turned to see Dr. Bora. I wanted to thank you for what you did. Your sacrifice in that battle. It changed everything. It showed the galaxy what humans are willing to give for what we believe in. Sang-hoon shook his head. I did not sacrifice anything, Doctor. I survived. The real heroes were my squadron. The ones who did not make it home. They did not die in vain, Dr. Bora said gently. Because of them, because of all the humans who fought in this war, the galaxy is better, safer, more just. Captain Haiwan stood in a different part of the ceremony. Her Ghost Protocol team was receiving medals from Earth's government, medals they would never wear in public, because their unit still needed to operate in secret. But the recognition mattered. What they had done mattered. Captain, one of her soldiers, Quan, approached. What do we do now? The war is over. We won. We did not win, Haiwan corrected. We taught. There is a difference. Winning means you defeated your enemy. Teaching means you changed them. Made them better. That is what we did. So what comes next? Haiwan looked around at the ceremony, at the memorial to the dead, at the representatives from dozens of species who were learning new ways to interact with each other. Next, we make sure the lessons stick. We watch, we protect. We remain ready in case anyone forgets what this war taught them. 1 year after the treaty was signed, on a Vrelian colony world now supervised by human administrators, a small school held classes. Vrelian children sat at desks learning new subjects: history, science, ethics. Dr. Bora had volunteered to teach some of the ethics classes. She believed that education was the key to lasting change, that children who learned the right lessons would build a better future. A young Vrelian child, no more than 8 years old by human standards, raised their hand. Teacher Bora, I have a question. Yes? Dr. Bora smiled encouragingly. Why did humans fight so hard for only 73 deaths? The galaxy has billions of beings. 73 is such a small number. Why did it matter so much? Dr. Bora knelt down next to the child's desk. This was the moment she had been waiting for. The moment when she could teach the most important lesson of all. Because every life matters, she said gently. If we say that 73 deaths are too few to care about, then we have decided that some lives do not matter. And once we make that decision, we start asking, what about 100 deaths? What about 1,000? Where do we draw the line? She pulled up images on her tablet. The faces of the Unity's Promise crew. These 73 people had names, had families, had dreams. Each one was unique, irreplaceable. When your empire killed them, they did not just end 73 lives. They destroyed 73 entire universes of experiences and possibilities. The child thought about this carefully. So humans believe every life is equally important, no matter how many or how few. Yes, Dr. Bora said. That is exactly right. Whether one person dies or 1 million, each individual death is a tragedy. Each one requires us to stop and think about what was lost. Each one demands that we do better. Be better. Captain Han Dae-won stood on the bridge of the Defiance and watched the stars shift in ways no human had ever seen before. The ship hummed around him, steady and strong. They had done it. They had actually done it. Humanity had broken the light barrier and jumped beyond their solar system for the first time. Jump complete, Captain, Lieutenant Kim Tae-yang said from his station. The young officer's voice carried excitement he could not hide. All systems normal. We're 3 light years from Earth. Dae-won nodded slowly. 3 light years. A distance that would have taken generations to cross with old technology. They had crossed it in minutes. He looked at the main screen showing the strange star system around them. This was it. This was the moment humanity joined the galaxy. Run a full scan of the system, Dae-won ordered. Let's see what's out here. Commander Baek Ji-woo moved beside him, her face serious. She was older than most of the crew and had seen enough to know when something felt wrong. Sir, are you sure about this? We're the first ones out here. We don't know what we'll find. That's exactly why we're here, Dae-won replied. To find out. Back on Earth, Admiral Park Soo-bin watched the mission data stream into her command center. The Defiance had made the jump successfully. Her team cheered, but Soo-bin felt worry tighten in her chest. They had built warships first. Not science vessels. Not peaceful explorer ships, warships. The decision had been practical. They needed to protect themselves from whatever was out there. But she wondered if it was the right choice. Dr. Choi Yuna entered the command center, her tablet clutched in her hands. She was the one who had figured out faster-than-light travel without any outside help. Earth had done this alone, using their own minds and determination. Admiral, we're receiving something, Yuna said, her voice tight. It's not from the Defiance. Soo-bin turned sharply. What do you mean? There's another signal. From the system where Defiance jumped. It's artificial. Someone else is out there. Far across the galaxy, alarms screamed through the Council Supreme Station. Technicians rushed between consoles, their faces showing panic. The impossible had happened. The quarantined species had escaped. Council Supreme Talvora entered the command chamber, her ancient body moving with practiced grace. She had lived for 3 centuries and led the council for half that time. She had seen many things, but the fear on her people's faces now reminded her of dark times from long ago. Report, she commanded. A technician bowed low. Supreme, the monitoring station at System J447, has detected a vessel. It uses faster-than-light technology. The signature matches the quarantined world. The humans, Talvora said quietly. The words seemed to carry weight in the chamber. Other council members nearby stopped and turned. They've achieved FTL travel. How is that possible? Another council member asked. We never shared the technology. We made sure they stayed contained. They figured it out themselves, Talvora said. She felt cold fear creep through her. The last time a Death World species reached the stars, millions had died. The council had barely survived. And their first vessel is military. A warship, the chamber fell silent. Everyone knew what that meant. The humans had not built ships for peace or exploration. They had built ships for war. It confirmed the council's worst fears about them. Send Ambassador Vexilith, Talvora ordered. Have him make contact. And prepare the containment fleet. You mean to push them back to their world? A younger council member asked. If necessary, Talvora said. We cannot allow another Death World species to spread through the galaxy unchecked. Not after last time. On the Defiance, Lieutenant Tae-yang's console lit up with new readings. Captain, I'm picking up a structure, artificial. It's in orbit around the 4th planet. Dae-won leaned forward. Can you identify it? It looks like a monitoring station. The technology is far beyond ours? Tae-yang paused, checking his readings again. Sir, it's been watching Earth for a long time. The bridge crew exchanged looks. Someone had been watching humanity. Someone had known they were there and never made contact. Take us closer, Dae-won ordered. Weapons ready but not armed. Let's see who our neighbors are. The Defiance moved through space toward the alien station. As they approached, Specialist Lee Hana at Communications suddenly gasped. Captain, we're being hailed. The message is in multiple languages. They're trying to find one we understand. Put it through, Dae-won said. A voice filled the bridge, speaking in broken English. Human vessel. You have violated council space. You were ordered to remain in your system. Return immediately. The crew stared at each other. Ordered? By whom? Humanity had never received any such order. Daewon stepped forward. This is Captain Han Daewon of the Earth vessel Defiance. We have received no orders. We were not aware of any council. We come in peace to explore and make contact with other civilizations. There was a pause. Then the voice returned, colder now. Your species was quarantined for the safety of the galactic community. You are classified as a threat. Return to Earth or face consequences. Commander Bayek put her hand on Daewon's shoulder. Sir, maybe we should listen. We're one ship. We don't know what we're facing. But Daewon shook his head. No. Humanity has the right to explore the stars. We have the right to be here. We've done nothing wrong. He addressed the alien station again. We will not return. We request formal contact with your council. We wish to establish peaceful relations. The response came quickly. A fleet is being dispatched. You have 12 hours to begin your return to Earth. This is your only warning. The transmission ended. The bridge fell silent, sir? Taiyang asked quietly. Daewon looked at the main screen, at the stars spreading endlessly before them. Humanity had fought so hard to reach this moment. They had solved impossible problems, built amazing ships, and dared to dream of the cosmos. He would not let fear push them back now. Send a message to Earth, he said. Tell Admiral Subin everything, and tell her we're staying. On Earth, Subin received the message and felt her blood run cold. The situation was worse than she had imagined. Humanity was not alone in the universe, and whoever else was out there, they saw humans as a threat, a species to be contained and controlled. She looked at the young officers around her, at Earth hanging beautiful and blue outside the command center windows. Humanity had one ship in deep space and a small defense fleet in orbit. Against an alien civilization that had technology to watch them for who knew how long, but she knew her people. Humans did not surrender easily. They did not bow to threats. They fought for their freedom. Begin fleet mobilization, Subin ordered. Every ship we have. If they want to push us back to Earth, they'll have to fight us for it. The officers moved to obey. Earth's small fleet began powering up, preparing for a conflict no one had expected. Humanity's first contact with alien life was about to become humanity's first war among the stars. The Council fleet moved through the void like a steel storm, 30 warships, each carrying enough firepower to level a city. They jumped into position around the human vessel, forming a cage of metal and weapons. Admiral Krevtos commanded the fleet from his flagship, and his orders were clear. Make the humans leave or make them submit. On the Defiance, alarms blared as the Council ships appeared around them. Lieutenant Taiyang's hands moved fast across his console, counting the vessels that had them surrounded. 30 ships, Captain, he reported, his voice steady despite the fear that must have been running through him. All armed. All targeting us. Captain Han Daewon studied the tactical display. One human ship against 30 alien vessels. The odds were terrible. But he had not come this far to turn back now. Hold position. Shields at maximum. Weapons ready but not armed. Commander Baek Jiwoo moved close to him, speaking quietly. Sir, this is insane. We can't fight 30 ships. We're not going to fight, Daewon replied. Not unless they force us to. But we're not running either. A transmission came through. The same cold voice from before, but this time with video. The alien that appeared on screen was tall and thin, with pale blue skin and large dark eyes. He wore what looked like a military uniform covered in symbols Daewon could not read. Human vessel, this is Commander Pixtarn of the Council Enforcement Fleet. You have refused our warning. Power down your weapons and engines. Prepare to be escorted back to your system. Daewon stepped forward. Commander Pixtarn, I am Captain Han Daewon. We have done nothing wrong. We have harmed no one. Why are we being treated as criminals? Pixtarn's face showed something that might have been fear or disgust. Your species is a threat. Your world is a death world. You are classified as dangerous to galactic peace. Dangerous? Daewon felt anger rise in his chest. You know nothing about us. You've been watching us in secret, but never tried to make contact. That doesn't sound like peace to me. You do not understand, Pixtarn said. The last death world species that reached the stars almost destroyed everything. Billions died. The Council barely survived. We will not allow it to happen again. The transmission ended before Daewon could respond. He turned to his crew, seeing the shock on their faces. They were being judged for things they had never done, for crimes committed by others from another world. Specialist Lee, Daewon said to his communications officer. That monitoring station we found. Can we access its database? Lihana looked up from her console. It's heavily encrypted, sir. But I might be able to break through. What are you looking for? Answers, Daewon said. If they're judging us based on history, I want to know what that history is. Far away on the Council's Supreme Station, Talvora stood in the ancient archives. The chamber was dark and quiet, filled with data crystals that held the memories of countless civilizations. She had come here to remember, to remind herself why the quarantine had been necessary. She activated one of the crystals, and images filled the air around her. A world that looked like Earth. Mountains and oceans and green forests. But the species that evolved there had been different. Stronger, faster, more aggressive. They had reached the stars with weapons, just like the humans. They had seen the peaceful council species as weak, as prey. The war that followed had lasted 50 years and killed billions. Entire worlds had been destroyed. The council had won, but barely, and the cost had been terrible. That is why we fear them, a voice said behind her. Talvora turned to see Councillor Velmara entering the chamber. The younger leader had always advocated for peace, for giving species chances to prove themselves. But even she looked worried now. The humans have built warships, Talvora said, not science vessels, not ships for exploration. Warships, just like them. Perhaps they built warships because they were afraid, Velmara suggested. They knew they were not alone. They prepared to defend themselves. Or they prepared to conquer, Talvora replied. On the Defiance, Lihana suddenly gasped. Captain, I'm in. The monitoring station's database is open. What do you see? Daewon asked. Everything, Hana said, her voice filled with shock. Records of Earth going back 150 years. They've been watching us since we first left our planet. Since we went to our moon. She paused, reading more. Sir, there's classified files here. Information about why we were quarantined. Show me, Daewon ordered. The main screen filled with alien text that Hana's computer slowly translated. Daewon read about the previous Deathworld species, about the war, about the death and destruction. He read the Council's assessment of humanity, their conclusion that Earth was too dangerous, that humans were too violent to be allowed into the galaxy. But he also read something else. The Council species were weaker than humans, physically slower. They evolved on peaceful worlds with gentle climates and few predators. They had never known the struggle that shaped humanity. They had never faced the challenges that made humans strong and adaptable. They're afraid of us, Commander Beck said quietly, reading over his shoulder. Not because of what we've done, because of what we could do. Dr. Choi Yuna's voice suddenly came through from Earth, transmitted across the light years. Defiance, this is Dr. Yuna. I've been analyzing the data you sent about the Council fleet. I've found something important. Go ahead, Doctor, Daewon said. Their ships are fast, but they're not built for combat. Not real combat. The designs are old, probably centuries old, and the weapon systems are meant to intimidate, not to fight against an equal opponent. Captain, I don't think they've been in a real war for a very long time. Daewon looked at the tactical display again, seeing the Council ships with new understanding. They surrounded the Defiance, but their formation was loose. Their positions were textbook perfect but rigid. No creativity, no adaptation. Lieutenant Taeyang had noticed the same thing. Sir, if we had to fight them, I think we could win. Or at least fight our way clear. Their tactics are basic. They're relying on numbers, not skill. We're not going to fight unless we have no choice, Daewon said firmly. But he filed the information away. It was good to know. Back on Earth, Admiral Subin watched the standoff through the data feeds. The Council fleet had surrounded the Defiance, but they had not fired. They were waiting, probably hoping the humans would surrender without a fight. She had mobilized Earth's defense fleet. 5 more warships, smaller than Defiance but just as advanced. They were ready to jump to their captain's aid. But Subin hesitated. If she sent them, it would mean war. A war humanity might not win, no matter what the tactical analysis said. Her communication officer turned to her. Admiral, we're receiving a transmission. It's from one of the Council ships. Not the commander. Someone else. They're using a private channel. Subin frowned. Put it through. A different alien appeared on her screen. This one looked older, with kind eyes and a gentler manner. Admiral Park Subin of Earth, I am Counselor Velmara. I am risking much by contacting you directly, but I believe this conflict is wrong. Then help us stop it, Subin said immediately. I am trying, Velmara replied, but the Council is afraid. They remember the last time. They cannot see past their fear to understand that you might be different. How do we prove we're different? Subin asked. Velmara was quiet for a moment. I do not know, but I will try to find a way. Please do not let this become war. Too many will die. The transmission ended. Subin sat back in her chair, thinking hard. Humanity needed to prove they were not monsters. But how could they do that when they were not being given a chance? On the Defiance, Commander Pixtarn sent another transmission. Human Captain, this is your final warning. Power down your vessel now, or we will disable you by force. Day One looked at his crew, young faces filled with determination and fear. They trusted him to make the right choice. He thought about Earth, hanging beautiful in space 3 light years away. He thought about every human who had dreamed of the stars, who had worked and sacrificed to make this moment possible. No, he said simply, we have the right to be here. We will not surrender that right. Pixtarn's face showed shock, then anger. Then you leave us no choice. 3 council ships broke formation and moved toward the Defiance, their weapons powered up, glowing with deadly energy. Here we go, Commander Beck said quietly. Daewon gripped the arms of his command chair. Evasive maneuvers. Show them what a human ship can do. The combat arena was a neutral space station built centuries ago for exactly this purpose. A large circular platform surrounded by energy shields, floating in the void. Around it, hundreds of ships gathered, council vessels and human ships all watching. Billions more watched from across the galaxy through live broadcasts. This trial would decide everything. Captain Han Daewon stood in the human preparation room, stripped to basic combat gear. Lieutenant Nam Yunji, the Defiance's medical officer, worked on preparing him. She applied protective gel to his joints and checked his vital signs for the 10th time. Your heart rate is too high, she said quietly, her hands steady despite her worry. You need to calm down. I'm about to fight an alien super soldier who was built to kill humans, Daewon replied with a slight smile. I think a high heart rate is reasonable. Commander Baek Jiwoo sat nearby, her face dark with anger and fear. This is insane. You don't have to do this. We can still fight our way out. And how many will die? Daewon asked. This way, only one person risks death. Me. It's the right choice. It's the choice of a fool, Beck muttered. But she stood and gripped his shoulder firmly. Still, you're our fool. Our captain. So you better win. Lieutenant Kim Taeyang entered carrying a tablet. Sir, I've been analyzing videos of Krexnal. His movements, his fighting style from old war records. He's strong and armored, but he's also old. Over 300 years old. His reflexes might not be what they once were. Might not be, Daewon repeated. That's not very encouraging. It's all we have, Taeyang admitted. Dr. Choi Yuna's voice came through from Earth. Captain, I want you to remember something. You're human. We evolved on a world that tried to kill us every day. Heat, cold, predators, diseases. We survived because we adapt, because we endure. Use that. I will, Daewon promised. On the other side of the station, Krexnal prepared in silence. He needed no attendance, no preparation. His body was a weapon, perfected over centuries of bioengineering. 4 arms, each capable of lifting 1,000 pounds. Natural armor that could stop bullets. Claws that could tear through steel. But as he stood alone, old memories surfaced. The war. The Death Worlders he had fought. They had been strong too. Deadly, but also clever and brave. He had respected them even as he killed them. He wondered if this human would be the same. Counselor Velmara entered his preparation room. Krexnal, thank you for doing this. The old warrior looked at her with eyes that had seen too much death. I do not do this for you. I do this because I need to know. Know what? If the humans are truly like the others, or if they are something different. He paused. Part of me hopes they are different. I am tired of being a weapon. Velmara felt surprise. In 300 years, Krexnal had never shown doubt before. Then perhaps you should not fight with full strength. Perhaps you should test him, not destroy him. If I hold back and he is a monster, I doom the galaxy, Krexnal said. No, I will fight as I always have, and we will see what the human is made of. The time came. Both fighters entered the arena from opposite sides. The crowd of ships outside fell silent. Across the galaxy, billions held their breath. Daiwan saw Krexnal and felt his stomach tighten. The alien warrior was even more impressive in person. Massive, dangerous, built to kill. But Daiwan had not come this far to back down now. He stepped forward. The referee, a neutral council member, floated on an anti-gravity platform above the arena. This combat is governed by ancient law. Fight until one submits or cannot continue. No weapons beyond natural ability. No outside interference. The referee paused. Begin. Krexnal moved first, faster than something his size should have been able to move. Two of his forearms lashed out, claws extended. Daiwan barely dodged, rolling to the side. He felt the wind from the strike pass by his head. The human came up fast and threw a punch at Krexnal's side, aiming for a gap in the armor. His fist connected with solid force. It felt like hitting a wall. Krexnal did not even flinch. A backhand from the alien sent Daiwan flying across the arena. He hit the ground hard, feeling ribs crack. Pain exploded through his chest. He forced himself to his feet, gasping. On the Defiance, the crew watched in horror. He can't win, someone whispered. Look at the size difference. He has to win, Commander Bayek said fiercely, because giving up is not what humans do. In the arena, Daiwan circled Krexnal, trying to find weakness. The alien warrior was strong and armored, but he was also predictable. He relied on his natural advantages. He did not adapt. Not yet. Daiwan dodged another strike and this time went low, sweeping at Krexnal's legs. The alien stumbled slightly, not much but enough. Daiwan saw it, the joints. That was where the armor was thinnest. He moved in again, taking hits that made his body scream in pain. But each time, he targeted the joints. Quick strikes, precise hits. Gradually, Krexnal's movements became slower. Not by much, but it was there. The alien warrior was surprised. The human was not trying to overpower him. The human was being smart. Patient, wearing him down. You fight well, Krexnal said, speaking for the first time. Better than I expected. You haven't seen anything yet, Daiwan replied, blood running from his mouth. They clashed again and again. Krexnal's superior strength against Daiwan's speed and strategy. The human took terrible punishment. Broken ribs, dislocated shoulder, cuts and bruises covering his body. But he kept fighting. He kept adapting. On Earth, people watched their captain suffer and felt their hearts break. But they also felt pride. He was showing the galaxy what humanity was. Not monsters, not conquerors, just people who refused to give up, who fought for their right to exist. Lieutenant Yunji watched the medical readouts and felt sick. His body is failing. He can't take much more. But he will, Taeyang said quietly. Because he's human. We don't know when to quit. In the arena, Daiwan could barely see anymore. His left eye was swollen shut. His body was a mass of pain, but his mind was still clear. He had figured out Krexnal's pattern. The alien was slowing down. 300 years old. Powerful but not endless. Daiwan waited for his moment. Krexnal lunged with all four arms. The human did not dodge this time. He stepped inside the attack, taking a glancing blow that sent new pain through his already broken body. But it put him exactly where he needed to be. His fist drove upward into the joint where Krexnal's lower right arm connected to his body. The weakest point in the armor. The alien's arm went numb. Useless. Before Krexnal could recover, Daiwan struck again. The lower left arm. Same result. Now the alien warrior only had two functional arms. They were more evenly matched now. Krexnal realized he had underestimated the human. This Death Worlder was not just strong or fast. He was intelligent, tactical. He adapted and learned with every exchange. The fight continued. Both warriors were exhausted now, both bleeding, both pushed beyond what should have been possible, but neither would surrender. Finally, Daewon saw his chance. Krexnal overextended, tired from the long battle. The human moved in and got behind the alien, locking an arm around his throat. A chokehold. Krexnal struggled, but his two disabled arms could not reach back. His two functional arms could not get the right angle. "Submit," Daewon said through gritted teeth. "I don't want to kill you." Krexnal felt the pressure on his throat. He could break free, probably, but it would require killing the human to do it. And suddenly, he did not want to. This human had fought with honor, with courage. He had shown mercy even in combat, disabling arms instead of going for killing strikes when he could have. The alien warrior remembered the old days, the Death Worlders he had fought before. They had never shown mercy. They had been monsters who gloried in destruction. But this human was different. This human had the strength to kill, but chose restraint. "I submit," Krexnal said, his voice carrying across the arena. The referee's voice boomed out. "The human warrior is victorious." Daewon released the hold and stepped back, nearly collapsing from exhaustion and pain. Krexnal turned to face him, and for a long moment, they stared at each other. Then Daewon did something that shocked everyone watching. He extended his hand to help Krexnal up, the gesture of respect to a fallen opponent. Krexnal looked at the offered hand. In 300 years of combat, no one had ever offered him such dignity after defeating him. He reached out with one of his still functional arms and took the human's hand. "You are not like the others," Krexnal said quietly. "No," Daewon agreed. "We're not." Across the galaxy, the watching billions erupted in reaction, some in celebration, some in shock, some in fear. But everyone had seen the same thing. The human had won. And more than that, he had shown mercy. On the Council Supreme Station, Talvora sat back in her chair, her ancient face unreadable. She had expected Krexnal to win easily. She had expected to be proven right about the Death Worlders. Instead, she had been shown something she never expected: compassion from a species she had judged as monsters. "The trial is complete," she said quietly. "By ancient law, the humans have won their place among us." But even as she spoke, she knew some would not accept this. The extremists. The ones who believed the only solution was to eliminate the human threat entirely. And they were already moving. Admiral Park Subin was celebrating with her command staff when the alarms began. Red lights flooded the Earth Defense Command Center. Her communication officer's face went pale as he read the incoming data. "Admiral, we have multiple FTL signatures. 40 ships. They're jumping into Earth orbit." Subin's celebration died instantly. "What, who?" "Council signatures, but these aren't from the fleet at the trial. These are different. Military grade. And they're powering weapons." Subin's blood ran cold. Even after the trial, even after Captain Han Daewon had won, someone was attacking Earth. "Battle stations. Get all our ships into position. Send an emergency transmission to the Defiance." The attacking fleet materialized around Earth like a steel noose. At their head was Admiral Krevtos, one of the Council's old guard. He had watched the trial and felt only rage. The human had defeated Krexnal through tricks and luck, not true strength. The Council had been humiliated, and now he would correct that mistake. "Target all major population centers," Krevtos ordered his fleet. "Prepare to fire on my command. We will show these Death Worlders what happens when they threaten galactic peace." His officers hesitated. "Sir, the Council Supreme has not authorized this action." The trial was a mistake," Krevtos roared. "Supreme Talvora has grown weak. She would welcome monsters into our society. I will not allow it. Fire." But before his ships could release their weapons, other vessels dropped out of FTL between the attackers and Earth. Council ships, but these bore different markings. Councillor Velmara's fleet. She had anticipated that extremists might try something like this and had positioned her forces in secret. "Admiral Krevtos, this is Councillor Velmara. Stand down immediately. Your attack violates Council law and the results of the trial." You are a traitor, Krevtos spat. You would side with Deathworlders over your own people. I side with justice, Velmara replied firmly. The humans won fairly. They have earned their place. More ships arrived, species from across the council who had watched the trial and been moved by what they saw. The humans' victory, his mercy toward Krexnal. They had seen something that challenged everything they had been told about Deathworlders, but Krevtos had 40 warships. Even with Velmara's allies, the forces were roughly even, and Earth's small defense fleet was caught in the middle. On the neutral station where the trial had taken place, Captain Daewon was receiving medical treatment when Lieutenant Kim Taeyang burst in. Captain, Earth is under attack. Extremist council forces. They're refusing to honor the trial results. Daewon tried to sit up, his broken body protesting. How long until we can jump? Sir, you can't fight, Lieutenant Nam Yunji said firmly. You can barely move. I can sit in a command chair, Daewon said through gritted teeth. That's all I need to do. Get me to the bridge. Commander Baek Jiwoo helped him stand. The defiance isn't enough. Even with Velmara's help, they're outnumbered. A voice spoke from behind them. Then you will have one more warrior. They turned to see Krexnal standing in the doorway. The alien warrior had received treatment too, his disabled arms now in medical supports. But his eyes burned with determination. Why would you help us? Daewon asked. Because you showed me honor when you could have shown cruelty, Krexnal replied. Because I'm tired of being a weapon for fear and hate, and because Krevtos is wrong. You are not monsters. The Defiance jumped to Earth alongside ships from a dozen different council species. They emerged into chaos. The space around Earth was filled with vessels, weapons charging, shields raised. It looked like war. Admiral Subin saw the Defiance arrive and felt hope surge. All human ships form up on the Defiance. Defensive positions around Earth. Captain Yoon Ji-ho brought the Resolute alongside the flagship. The other human warships took positions in a protective ring around their homeworld. They were still outnumbered by Krevtos' fleet, but they would not surrender. On the Council Supreme Station, Talvora watched the confrontation with growing horror. She had wanted to avoid war. The trial was supposed to prevent this, but extremists within her own government had taken matters into their own hands. Open a channel to all ships, she commanded. This must stop. Her image appeared on every vessel's view screen. This is Council Supreme Talvora. Admiral Krevtos, you are acting without authority. Your attack on Earth is illegal and will not be tolerated. Stand down immediately or face charges of war crimes. You have no power anymore, Old One, Krevtos replied. You allowed Deathworlders to humiliate us. You allowed them to defeat our greatest warrior. I will restore the Council's honor. There is no honor in attacking the innocent, Talvora said coldly. You are relieved of command. All loyal Council forces will now take Admiral Krevtos into custody. Several ships in Krevtos' fleet immediately broke formation. Their captains had been uncomfortable with the attack from the beginning. But Krevtos still had enough loyal vessels to be dangerous. If you will not follow, then you are traitors like the rest, Krevtos snarled. He turned to his weapons officer. Fire on Earth, all weapons. But before his flagship could release its payload, the Resolute moved into its path. Captain Yoon Ji-ho broadcast on all channels. I am Captain Yoon Ji-ho of the Earth vessel Resolute. I will not allow you to harm my world. Then you will die, Krevtos said and fired. The weapon strike hit the Resolute head-on. The human ship's shields flared and collapsed. Energy tore through the hull. But the ship had done its job, absorbing the strike meant for Earth. The Resolute began breaking apart, life pods launching from the dying vessel. No, Daewon shouted from the Defiance bridge. He saw his friend's ship dying. Saw the sacrifice. Rage and grief filled him. The Defiance surged forward faster than physics should have allowed. It closed the distance to Krevtos' flagship in seconds. Lieutenant Taeyang's hands flew across his console, targeting every weapon system on the enemy vessel. Fire, Daewon ordered, his voice like ice. The Defiance's weapons spoke with surgical precision, not to destroy, not to kill, but to disable. Krevtos' flagship went dark, weapons offline, engines offline, dead in space. Other human ships moved in, supported by Velmara's forces and the newly arrived Council allies. The extremist fleet found itself surrounded and outmatched. Ship after ship powered down weapons and surrendered. Krevtos sat in his darkened command center and felt everything crumble. He had been so certain, so sure that force was the answer. But he had underestimated these humans again. They had not destroyed his ship. They had disabled it. Even in rage, even after losing one of their own, they had chosen restraint. Council security forces boarded his flagship and took him into custody. As they led him away, he looked back at the view screen showing Earth. The blue-green world hung peaceful in space, protected by human and alien ships working together. He had failed. And somehow that failure felt like the right outcome. On the Defiance, medical teams rushed to treat Captain Day One, who had pushed his broken body too far. As he lay on the medical bed, Admiral Subin's face appeared on a screen beside him. "Captain Yunjiho survived," she said, seeing the question in his eyes. "His crew got him to a life pod in time. The Resolute is lost, but the people are safe." Day One closed his eyes in relief. "Good, that's good. You did it," Subin said softly. "You won our freedom." "We did it," Day One corrected. "All of us together." Across the galaxy, the council convened an emergency session. Talvora stood before them, old and tired but still strong. The trial results stand. Humanity has earned full council membership. All quarantines are hereby dissolved. Earth is granted territory and rights equal to any founding species. Some council members protested, but they were the minority now. Most had seen the humans fight, had seen them show mercy even to those who attacked them, had seen them risk everything to protect others. Councillor Velmara stood. "I propose that Captain Han Day-Wan be granted the position of Earth's primary representative to the Council." The vote was not unanimous, but it passed. Humanity had its voice among the stars. Weeks later, Day-Wan stood on the Council Supreme Station, his body healed, wearing the formal uniform of an Earth representative. The chamber was filled with hundreds of species, all watching as he took his oath. Beside him stood Krexnal. The alien warrior had asked to serve as Earth's military advisor, teaching humans about galactic threats and learning from them in return. The Council had approved, seeing it as a symbol of new cooperation. After the ceremony, Day-Wan walked to an observation deck. Commander Baek Jiwoo found him there staring out at the stars. "Strange, isn't it?" she said. "A few weeks ago we were criminals just for being here. Now you're a council representative." "The galaxy changed faster than I expected," Day-Wan admitted. "But there's still so much to do. So many species who still fear us. So much to prove." "We'll prove it," Beck said confidently. "One day at a time. One action at a time." Dr. Choi Yuna's message came through from Earth. "Admiral Day-Wan, we're receiving requests from dozens of species. They want to trade technology, establish cultural exchanges, even form defensive alliances. Earth is becoming a hub." "Of course we are," Specialist Lee Hanna added from communications. "Everyone wants to be friends with the species that defeated Krexnal and showed mercy to their attackers."